Hello, my name is Bernard Cisnero. I am a 3D character model. Some qualities and skills that make a good 3D character modeler are the first being being creative. Having a creative mindset when creating a character makes the whole process more fun and more manageable. Another good skill would be knowing the difference between hard surface modeling and organic modeling. Hard surface being like creating like desks, hard surface objects, like a laptop or something. Organic being like people or like trees. Another good skill to have would be being flexible, because there are times where when you're creating a character, you'll have to alter some parts of the character or even change parts altogether. And being flexible makes it a lot more manageable. Another good skill would be knowing topology. When you're designing a character, you want to have good edge flow throughout the whole character. Don't want to have zigzags of different edges, because then that just creates a whole mess when you're UVing. Um, Knowing the topology of a face is important too. When you're creating a topology, you want to have good edge flow around the mouth, around the nose, around the eyes. You want to have it all flow seamlessly together. That way, when you do rig a face, when the character like smiles, for instance, there's like a lot of edges that merge together, and if you don't have good edge flow, it's gonna break the whole rig or just the whole model itself. Um, my creative process for creating a character, the first thing I do is start off with some base sketches to get an idea of what I plan on modeling. And then once I get the idea down, that's when I create a T-pose sheet where it has a character in a T-pose. It'll be like a front view of the character, a back view, a side profile view, and then a top view in case there are like parts that stick out, like if they have like big ears or if they have like a tail or something. Once I get that down, I import it into Maya and make sure that the proper images are placed in the proper camera. Like the front view will be in the front camera, side view in the side camera. And then I start off with base cube, because whenever I tried modeling with the cylinder, it ended up creating a lot of issues very fast because there's like already a lot of vertices on it. So I start off with a cube with like 3 or 4 edges, and I start modeling from there. I create like a base sculpture of just the body, the legs, the arms, the head. Once I get that down, that's when I start adding more detail depending on the character. And once all the modeling and the vertices are done, I make sure the edge flow is good throughout the whole process. Because if you wait for the end to do that, it takes forever to make sure the edges are good. Once that's all done, that's when I start UVing. UVing, I depends on the character. I'll have like one for the face, making sure that the proper placement of the planes are correct. That way, when I add the textures to it, it doesn't have any warping or like stretching on the textures. Once I make sure all the UVs are all laid out, I make sure there's no overlapping. Otherwise, whenever, like, let's say there's like a UV of the face here and the neck, and these are overlapping, it's going to create issues with the textures. So I make sure there's a little bit of a gap between each UV. Once I finish that, that's when I bring the whole thing. I create a whole um, texture file. It uses an AI standard surface for the character, depending on like what I plan to texture. So like let's say the whole, like there's like the arms, the legs, the chest, the body, or I mean the face. That's so it'll be like 5 different textures. I start off with that. Other, like for example, the arms and the chest, I can combine those two since they're together, saving time with texturing. Once I do all the creating the AI standard surfaces textures for them, I import that into Substance Painter with the model itself, and I bake it. And most of the time, I use the colors, the normals, the roughness, and the metal maps to create a nice look. It really depends on the character. Once I texture the character, depending on the project, I import it back into Maya with the AI standard surfaces, and that's whenever I will create an auto rig for the character. That way I can pose it. And that's my process for creating a character. Let's say someone tells you to model something without any or with very little context beyond the project prompt. What would I do? First thing I would do is think about what the prompt is. So let's say, for example, the prompt is like an apocalyptic theme. I will think what kind of settings apocalyptics have. Most of the time, there's like a lot of grunge. There's a lot of like destroyed buildings. Nothing's new there. So whenever I'm creating a character, I don't want to have like brand new clothes. That wouldn't fit. It would stand out too much. Once I figure that out, that's when I design a couple characters, and I will probably decide on two that I can create different variations of. So I'll have like the base body, and like let's say for example the hair will be different. I'll create like different hairstyles that I can change, or like different outfits that I can put on the character and model, and create like two or three different outfits for each character. It might take a while, so that's why I'll probably stick with two different characters. I mean, two different outfits for each character. Um, and whenever I'm texturing, I will definitely have a lot of grunge on the outfits because again, they're not brand new. Some wear and tear on different parts. Like let's say, for example, it's in a apocalyptic theme where they're like walking a lot. Their shoes will be very worn out, very dirty. So I had a lot of grunge there. Um, and that's how I would create a 3D character model for in that kind of situation. Thank you.